Hey rockers and Tiny Tim fans, welcome back to the channel. Recently, I did a story about an interview I did with the late great Tiny Tim, which appeared in FANATIC FANZINE, right here, right? Part 1 of the interview that I did with Tiny Tim, March 25th, 1993. And today, my friends, we're going to delve back into the world of Tiny Tim, and I'm going to read the last part of the interview, which makes this part 2 of the video series. It's not going to be a real long one, but I can tell you that part 2 came out in this fanzine, Fanatic, back in August of 1993. And as you can see, I interviewed Davy Jones from the Monkees, El Duce from the Mentors, Reverend Ivan Stang from the Church of the Subgenius, and Mary Vivian Pierce from the John Waters films. Lots of good interviews in this issue of Fanatic. I will say, part 2 is probably going to be just as controversial as part 1. I gotta fess up to something though, man. You know, the last video I did when I was reading part 1 of that interview, I had no idea. I couldn't remember what was in the content of that interview until I was actually reading it live. And while I was reading it live, I realized, holy hell, the stuff he's saying is pretty controversial. So we'll see what people say. And I got all kinds of feedback from, I agree with Tiny Tim, to where some people were like, oh, his old fundamentalist views are crazy. So, and then there's some people right in the middle, you know, so it's very interesting. Tiny Tim, absolutely able to spark up controversy just by talking. Here we go with part 2 from Fanatic Fanzine, 1993. We had such an overwhelming response to our Tiny Tim interview in issue number 1 that we decided to run part 2 for you. This is not the entire interview. If anyone out there in Fanatic Land wants the actual interview on cassette tape, send $10 cash only, blah, 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 which is an expired offer, by the way. I'll personally get this interview out to you immediately. This interview was done by Bloody, me, via the telephone that Tiny Tim was living in the hotel room in Des Moines, Iowa. Again, March 25th, 1993. And here's where the interview left off, my friends. What do you think about the state of our nation today, Tiny Tim? And Tiny Tim answers, in my opinion, we are talking to a very angry, bitter, fierce God. He is not laughing unless it's for the sorrow of mankind. Look at the hurricanes in Florida. This is the beginning of the end. We are in dangerous times. The worst thing that's now happening in this country, there are condoms in schools that permit birth control. There are now injections they want to give to women not to have children. And while this is happening, the good Lord is one step ahead because he is causing more cancers and more frustrations and lung cancers in women than ever before. I tell you, this is the destruction of mankind. The biggest lie that this world will ever... The biggest lie is that this world will be overpopulated. Why, you can't count the grains of sand in your hand. This world will never be overpopulated, and if so, then we're on our way to the moon. We are coming closer to contact with outer space. Having abortions. Marriage has been made into prostitutions with a license. Women are having abortions. They're destroying the world. They're destroying mankind. And because of this, the black race, the Mexican race, and all the other races that are poor are multiplying while the white race is diminishing. The anger of God is just coming upon this country and the world. Wow, okay. Ask a question, you'll get an answer. So I'm going to ask another question to Tiny Tim. And that question is, do you think it's right for black people to carry a grudge against white people today, even though most of us had nothing to do with the slavery thing back then? I really wanted to know what Tiny thought about this issue. And he says, it's not right, but remember, they're fighting the slavery battle. They're still fighting the days of slavery. There's a bitter scar against the white man. Racial prejudice will only start ending when the blacks get on their own for attacking the white. And the whites get on their own for attacking the black. As long as they take sides because of their color, there's no racial harmony. And let's face it, wherever the blacks move, the whites move out. They just don't like them. It's still here today as it was 30 years ago, and it definitely is worse in the big cities. So then I asked Tiny Tim, what are your 3 favorite pleasures in life? And what does Tiny Tim say? He says, well, I'm going to tell you something, my friend, and this sounds crazy. The only pleasure I have is looking at beautiful girls. Starting at the age of 16 to 25 with pure thoughts. I can look at a porno movie and see the face of a woman to see if she's pretty or naughty things. Or I can see if she's pretty or not and go into my dream world. I don't dare think of any evil things or naughty things because it would be like committing fornication just in thought. I only look at the face and the body and praise the Lord for creating such a beautiful creature. Sorry, guys. As a woman in her youth, which is the greatest thing, I can dream. However, I don't dare touch because that's his law. Down in this world, I personally said, if I ever get to heaven and my wife knows about this, I pray he will make me another Miss Stephanie. She is the eternal woman, Miss Stephanie from Dallas, Texas. We could roam forever in paradise, but in this world, she doesn't even like me. Interesting. Forget the love. She's graduating college this year. She is my greatest ideal if I ever get to heaven. In this particular case, I disagree with the Pope. It's my opinion. I believe there is sex in heaven. The first thing is to get to heaven. The second in this world is to adore these beautiful women. And the third thing, I guess, I'd like is just to make another hit record. And then I said, well, it was good talking to you again, and I love you, man. He says, Mr. Mess, it was my pleasure. Keep in touch and thank you. And that does conclude my two-part interview with Mr. Tiny Tim. Crazy, huh? It's just interesting to go back to 1993 and to reread a conversation that back then didn't really affect me so much. I just kind of shirked it off as, yeah, Tiny's got his extreme beliefs and we all have ours, I guess. And then when I went back and read this, I was just kind of like, holy hell, he had some definitely firm opinions about things. I appreciate you guys coming back to check out part 2 of this video. I am getting ready for a trip down to Los Angeles on Friday. Be gone a few days, but I will be back tomorrow with another video before I get out of here on Friday. Thanks for being here. Hope everyone's doing well. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment if you would. Maybe like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you on the next exciting episode of Bloody F Mess Official. Cheers and keep on tiptoeing through the tulips if you want.